Thank you. Welcome to the Much Ado About God podcast, where we dive into the rich and timeless stories of the Bible, discovering lessons that resonate with our everyday lives. I'm your host, Audrey Z, and whether you're seeking spiritual growth or practical guidance, you've come to the right place. So sit back, relax, and let's embark on this journey together. Today's episode centers on one of the most loved stories of all time, Noah's Ark. This is a tale of faith, obedience, and survival, but it also has moments of wonder and imagination, which I think is perfect for kids and adults. We'll explore the story, uncover lessons for modern life, and take our time to reflect and recharge with a short meditation. Now, without further ado, let's dive in. The Bible is often called the book of life, and truly it's no wonder why. There are countless of stories in the Bible that are filled with wisdom to guide us through challenges, joys, and everything in between. The story of Noah's Ark, for instance, it isn't just about a boat and animals. It's a lesson on trust, courage, and determination. I'll be reading a story that's actually kid friendly just to keep things fun and meaningful for all ages. Now imagine this. A long, long time ago, people were not being kind and things were just not going well. But there was a man named Noah who always listened to God and tried to do the right thing. One day, God told Noah, I'm going to send a big flood to wash the world clean. But I want you to build a big giant boat, an ark, to keep you, your family, and lots of animals safe. So without further ado, Noah got to work. Alright? He straight up started building the ark, no questions asked, because he listened to God. People were laughing at him. They were saying, why are you building a boat when there's no water here? But Noah was not listening to them because he trusted in God. When the ark was ready, Noah's family and pairs of every kind of animals, lions, elephants, birds, and even little mice, climbed aboard. Then the rain started. It poured and poured for 40 days and 40 nights. Imagine that. Just constant rain for so many days and so many nights. The whole world, and I mean the entire surface of the earth, was covered in water. But inside the ark, everyone was safe and dry. Noah fed the animals. His family prayed together and they waited patiently. Finally, one day, the rain stopped and the water began to go down. A dove flew out of the ark and brought back a little olive branch, proof that dry land was returning. When they left the ark, Noah and his family gave thanks to God, promising to always follow him, and God made a beautiful rainbow in the sky. Now I remember when I read this in Genesis, I was amazed because it never really made sense that just beautiful colors are painted all around the world and it just happened to be so. As we read in this, the earth was already a corrupt place. It was filled with violence. God just saw that and was disappointed because flesh had taken over. Flesh is the source of all sin, and human beings around this time were living through sin. God warned Noah. Why did he warn Noah, you may ask? Noah had proven himself to be not only just a trustworthy follower, but also to have much faith. Showing faith through adversity will always take you far. God's plan was to bring a flood of waters upon the earth to destroy all flesh and establish a new covenant with Noah, his son, his wife, and his son's wives. Then God caused it to rain upon the earth for 40 days and 40 nights. Noah did according to all that God had told him. The waters destroyed the earth, and only those that were in the ark remained alive. Noah had sent forth a dove from him to see if the waters were finally down. And once the dove came back with the olive leaf in the mouth, that was the sign of peace, which is why the dove is usually looked as a symbol of peace in multiple pieces or art in theory. After God saw what he had done, he made the promise to never curse the ground again for men's sake, and to never kill everything at once, which is why I don't believe in apocalypse happening again, because that will involve God getting rid of all humanity, but he has already made a promise not to. Every time that we look into the sky, the bow shall be seen in the cloud, which is a verse in the Bible. The bow in the cloud represents the rainbow. Now, there are multiple scientific explanations as to how a rainbow is formed, but faithful people, believers, know that this is a sign of peace, the sign that God loves us and will never do us harm, as many people try to fear monger us into believing. Society will try to make you believe that God will eradicate humanity once again, but it is stated in the Bible that that would never happen again. The main lessons that we can take from Noah's story are surrounding faith. Let's start with faith. Can you imagine how much trust Noah must have had to build that ark? He didn't have no weather forecast. He didn't have no Apple app where he could just like look it up or proof that a flood was coming. Yeah, he believed it simply because God told him. God simply came to him and let him know, make thee an ark of gopher wood. And that he did. In our lives, we often face situations where we can't see the end result. It might feel like we're stepping into the unknown, but just like Noah, having faith, even when things seem impossible, can carry us through. I will take the example of me starting a new semester at my college this year. At first, it was scary because that wasn't the school where I pictured myself going at all for the whole time of me applying. It was only a week before school started that I was now sure that this is the school that I was now going to be going to. I was not ready. I hadn't bought not even a pen. I'm thankful to have trusted the process and to have went through with the school that I'm in now. The school story is really just to show how sometimes just a little bit of faith in situations could take you farther than you realize. Noah's story also teaches us about obedience because he followed God's instructions down to the tiniest detail, even when other people were mocking him. Obedience in today's world might look different. It can mean staying true to our values or following our inner knowing of right and wrong, even when it's hard. Let's think about how we can show obedience in our daily lives. These times when you know you need to go to the gym, but you don't want to, get up and do it. On Sunday, instead of going to clock in at work, go to church and pray to God, because Sunday is supposed to be a rest day. Give that day to yourself and give that day to God as well, to praise him. That's also a way of you showing obedience. Completing assignments on time and not procrastinating. Procrastination is a sin. Telling yourself that I can do it later. How are you so sure that you have later to do it? Just do it now. That's also a way of showing obedience. Getting up every morning and doing your bed just so when you come home and you feel good or about the fact that your bed is made, it's also showing obedience. I can translate obedience as discipline. I can see how those two can meet in the same line. Just being disciplined through life requires a lot of obedience. People often struggle with what is right and what is wrong. But everyone gets that gut feeling when they feel as though they're not doing something right. Our feelings or emotions are a compass. The way that you feel when you're lying to someone, you get this pit in your stomach or you're just overheating, you don't feel comfortable. those are the signs that what you're doing is wrong. You don't need somebody on TV to come and let you know that. You don't need to read it somewhere for you to know that. God gave us the ability to have emotions that can guide us through life. And the also free will, the free will to make our own choices from right and wrong. We're able to define the kind of individuals that we are. Am I a good person? Am I a bad person? Am I doing the right or am I doing the wrong thing? By showing obedience in our daily life, we can stick with our boundaries. We can stick with our goals. We can stick with all the things about ourselves that we have set to achieve. Obedience is required for so many aspects of living and of being, just because it goes hand in hand with being disciplined. What is life without discipline? Nothing. Discipline is showing up even when you don't feel like it. Relying on motivation alone to get things done will lead you astray. You need more than that. You need substantial obedience, just like Noah showed when God gave him the instruction to build the ark. Without asking any questions, because sometimes we love to stop and ask why. Why do I have to do this? Why do I need to get up every day? Why do I need to go to the gym? Why do I have to read a book? Why do I have to write this paper? Why? Instead of asking the why, try to understand it. Try to understand the reason why. Because sometimes we're just asking the question to find out, but we're not asking to understand. We just want to know. And knowledge can be detrimental because knowing too much can hurt you. So instead of asking, why should I be obedient to God? Just show obedience to God and see what happens after you do that. Show obedience to going to the gym and see what happens when you do that. I wasn't always a disciplined person. I was not. But there came a time in my life where I had to show way more discipline in all aspects, in all areas of my life, mental, physical, and spiritual. And that required obedience. As much as it's a word that sounds like, oh, you have to put your head down. Yeah, very much so. You have to put your head down. But ego tends to come in the way of human beings obeying to other things or showing or respecting authority, which is a requirement to life. You have to respect the ones above you. That's how you're humble. And good things happen to people who are humble and show humility. 40 days and 40 nights on a rocking boat with a zoo full of animals. This is what Noah was going through. Talk about endurance. This story shows us that survival often requires perseverance. In life, we may face storms of our own, but if we keep going, we can weather them. How can we build endurance to face life's challenges? Life is full of ups and downs. One day, you're hitting the highest of highs. The next day, you're hitting rock bottom. That's the beauty of it. Life isn't meant to be a steady, straight line. It's just like your heartbeat. It goes up, it goes down, it goes up, it goes down. As well as your emotions. Like when your emotions are on the high, you're on the high. When your emotions are low, you're on the low. And that's okay. That's fine. But what do you have when you're experiencing those low moments? You have endurance. That endurance will help you go through even the worst scenarios with a smile on your face. Example of a scenario. Let's say you just lost your job. A non-believer would panic, be in tears. Oh my God, I don't have my job anymore. How am I going to pay my bills? How am I going to eat? How am I going to pay my rent? The regular everyday worries. But a Christian is not going to be worried in a moment like that. Of course, you're going to experience the emotions of losing your job. For sure. You're not going to panic. You probably prayed to God about finding a better job. You're not going to be crying about it because it's probably a prayer that you had out there that's being answered as we speak. So you're already looking ahead to the new opportunities, the better pay, the possible better benefits, you know what I'm talking about, the things you've been praying for. Life is never going to be steady. It's never going to be easy. And whether you're rich or poor, you're going to experience challenges that will require for you to persevere, regardless of you feeling up or down. You can't live by emotions. You have to live by strength, endurance. A Christian constantly goes through battles. You will understand that things aren't happening to you, but rather for you always. You will never feel like you're a victim in your own reality, but rather that you're in charge of creating everything that's happening around you at the moment. So even experiencing the loss of a job is not going to look as the end of everything, but rather the stepping stone for something better, something different. Because with every ending comes a new beginning. And that's the mindset that you should always be having for everything, even a relationship. When a relationship ends, it's not the end of the world. It probably means that it has run its course. And sometimes things are here for a season. Things are here for a season, and you should let it go, and it serves its purpose. Time for you to move on, time for you to grow. So how can we use these lessons of faith, obedience, and endurance in our everyday lives? Number 1, trust the process. Even when you can't see the bigger picture, know that each step of the way matters. Each assignment you've turned in, each workout, each goal you set yourself to achieve and you achieved it. Know that it's all amounting up to something bigger than even yourself. Your simple existence contributes to life as a whole. The next time you think your life doesn't matter, think about the fact that you're part of something that's bigger than yourself. You're part of the universe. Don't think your efforts are going to waste. Karma is also the definition of getting the fruits of your labor. So keep showing up for yourself. Keep maxing out on these efforts. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep being consistent. Because one day you're going to wake up in that bigger picture. You might already be in it. But because you're so wrapped up in the routine of your everyday life, you haven't even taken the time to look around to notice that your life is truly what you've always wanted it to be. Number 2, stay true to your principle, even when others don't understand. I want to talk about boundaries. When we're children, we don't have boundaries. We can accept people to treat us anyhow, because that's fine. We're kids. You can call me any names. That's fine. You can just not come to my birthday. That's fine. But once you grow older, there are things that are just not okay. And that's fine. It's just not okay. You've been in situations where you've experienced things you didn't like. If you have the habit of not going out late at night, and suddenly you meet this friend and she loves going out at night, she loves going to the club, and just that's not something that you tend to do. Oh, why don't you like going out? You're young, just do it. If that's something that you don't feel comfortable doing, don't do it just because someone else is trying to drag you into the stuff they like. Because most of the time, it doesn't end up well. Staying true to your principles is essential to be happy in this life. Living by other people's standards will lead you astray. You will end up in a ditch. Everyone lives by their own standards. They're not waiting for you to come and tell them what to do. So you'll have to let people know exactly how to treat you, and you have to stay true to that. Third thing, when times get tough, remember, every storm eventually ends. You've experienced a breakup. You've experienced losing a job. Did you find another job? Did you end up in another relationship? See how life is a constant progress. And all these ups and downs are really just there to teach us lessons. Lessons of endurance, lessons of obedience, lessons of faith. What is this period of my life trying to teach me at the moment? It's always the mindset you should keep when you're facing harsh things. Here's a tip. Write down a challenge you're facing at the moment and think about how these lessons could apply to it. Now let's take a moment to reflect with a short meditation. Close your eyes if you can. Imagine you're on the ark, rocking gently on the water. You hear the sounds of the rain outside. It's getting louder and louder, but you're safe and dry. Now let's focus on our breathing. Breathe deeply. Inhale peace and exhale worry. Repeat these affirmations silently or out loud. I have faith in the path before me. I have faith in the path before me. I follow what is right and true. I follow what is right and true. I am resilient and can overcome any challenge. I am resilient and can overcome any challenge. Now, let's picture a rainbow in all its splendor, forming in the sky right above you. Look up. Do you see the rainbow? Leading all the way down to somewhere you cannot see. This rainbow is here as a reminder of God's promise and love. Stay with this feeling of peace as long as you like. And once you're comfortable, get back in touch. Thank you for joining us on this episode of Much Ado About God. I hope the story of Noah's Ark has inspired you to embrace faith, obedience, and resilience in your life. In our next episode, we'll dive into the story of David and Goliath. Don't forget to subscribe and share your thoughts or questions for future episodes. Until then, may God bless you abundantly.